So my business finally received Paycheck Protection funding. More than a month later, finally in my account. For those of you who don't already know, I own a local and long distance moving service, and I own a call center in which we book jobs for other moving companies across the country. And I received a Paycheck Protection loan, and I'm so excited about it. Finally, the day has come. So I'm going to go over a little bit about the process that I took, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, the pains, and my concerns with where I'm at right now. So I actually applied on the very first day that the portals were open, on April 3rd. Basically what I did was I called my small local lender. I had a truck loan through them in the past. I don't really use them for anything. I use Wells Fargo for all my normal business banking, but I still had an account there because I figured, why not focus on the small company, because they're going to have less competition, less people, reaching out to them for loans. I might have a better chance of getting something through. And it turned out that that was actually a great strategy, because in the first round of funding, small and local regional type banks funded way more loans than the large lenders did. And this will probably be the case for the second round of funding too. So I made a good decision there, focusing on a small lender first. So I called my banker on the 3rd, and I sent him my 941 forms, my payroll summaries, tax documents, my ID, just basically everything I possibly could think of that might apply to this, because we didn't have a really great grasp of what was needed at that point. And he told me that the portal wouldn't be open until Monday. So it's great that I have all this information. He considered that I have it, but their portal opens on Monday. So Monday rolls around and I get sent an email inviting me to fill out a couple forms, fill out their portal, submit some documents. So I do that, submit all the documents straight away, early in the morning, like 8 a.m., as soon as it gets sent out. And on there, it said, make sure you submit a payroll calculator that they'll send you along with the loan attached documents. Well, there was no payroll calculator. So I email my banker, I call my banker, no response. He finally emails back. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't email back. It was just no response. I said, hey, when am I going to get this calculator? But I wanted to get this submitted as quickly as possible, so I actually used my own loan calculator that I've had in the description of my videos, and about 3,000 of you guys have downloaded. And I submitted that along with the application. Just like, well, this is going to be better than nothing. If they send me the additional calculator later on, I'll use that one. And actually, they never acknowledged that, now that I think about it. Anyways, my stuff was finally submitted, and now what? A few days go by, I bug my loan officer about it, no response, of course. A few more days go by. I'm bugging him like every few days, no contact whatsoever. After about a week or so, I'm like, okay, this might be a lost cause. So then I also applied at Cabbage, and then a few days later applied at Wells Fargo when they had opened up their loan portal again after that whole debacle was done. And with Cabbage, that was actually the most complicated application, because they needed W-3 forms, and I don't have those because I go through a PEO, and there was no one to contact regarding that. They wouldn't completely finalize the application because of it, but that's neither here nor there. Finally, the first round of funding ran out, and that was the first contact I received again from my small lender, and they basically said, funding ran out, we have stopped processing, yours has not been processed. So I was like, well, okay, well, I'm probably out of luck, but I'll just remain hopeful that, something happens. About a week or so goes by, and there's some word of next round funding, and then a couple more days go by, and lenders are basically being told like there's a good chance this additional round will go through. They're going to keep on processing loans, and then once the funding does go through, they'll just be set and ready to process all these loans. So I figured this would give me a better chance of getting the additional funding. I have everything, set up with 3 different lenders, and I'm ready to go for when, the funds open back up. So the portal's open back up. I keep up to date with requests. There was a few small requests, nothing major, because I had all my documents already sent. And I think that's the reason why I even got funding at all, because they didn't have to contact me a whole lot. But then it was more waiting, no contact. And it turned out my small lender, who I thought wouldn't be inundated with loans, was also inundated with loans and basically didn't have the time to respond to anyone either, but my loan at least went through. Finally, I received an email. It was around May 1st, and it was from Cabbage. And basically what the email said was, we couldn't complete the process for your funding because the SBA says you are already pending for funding. I'm like, what the heck? I haven't received anything. Then a few hours later on the same day, my small local bank sends me an email that says I'm tentatively approved and to wait for further communication. So I'm like, oh, it seems hopeful, tentatively approved. I might receive funding. Then nothing again. More days go by. More than a week goes by. No contact. I try contacting them. Nothing. My loan officer, I'm sure, has his phone hanging off the hook. He's like, I don't want to hear from these people anymore. So finally, after that week goes by, I finally received contact that asked to sign some loan documents with my paycheck protection loan amounts on there. However, there was some language on it that was really concerning. In the forgiveness portion of the loan documents, it stated that forgiveness is subject to changes in the SBA's guidelines. Now that's really concerning because I personally don't want to sign any legal document that says this is a legal document, but the other party is allowed to change terms later. So I'm like, what's up with this? So I asked the banker, what's going on with this? And he actually responded. But he basically said like, hey, are you going to sign it or not? Because if you don't sign it, if you don't like these terms, someone else is going to sign it and take it. So I basically had no choice because he was like, I don't have any guidance on how forgiveness is going to work. My CPA doesn't have any guidance on how this is going to work. I've asked many people and no one really knows exactly how forgiveness is going to work. So I figure, okay, I'll sign it. Worst case scenario, if the terms are horrible, I can just return the loan and pay some processing fees and fine. I guess it's better than losing out on the chance on all the money. So I signed it, and then finally, almost more than a month after I submitted my documents, like a month and a week, I received my funds, $50,300 in my account deposited. Finally, all this time, every day I'm talking about this, I'm helping people out on this, and I still hadn't received my funds. I'm getting 40 emails a day, hey, I received my funding, and they applied after me. I'm like, what is going on? I finally received my funds. So now, on to what I'm doing now with this process. Well, I'm still looking for answers. Like I said, no one has a firm grasp of how forgiveness is going to work, and I've seemed to be more concerned about this than other people. Obviously, I need to use the funds for things like payroll, and it's going to be super helpful, so I don't have a choice in at least using some of the funds. But it's the additional things that it could be spent on, and the tax consequences as well. The tax consequences, yes, it prevents no double tax benefit because they recently changed ruling that says anything you spend the paycheck protection funds on later gets forgiven are not tax deductible. So if you make a profit, you'd have to pay profit on those. Well, the problem is there's a negative incentive there, and here's why. Let's say I'm slower right now than I was last year, but the payroll protection loan is based off of payroll last year. So let's just, for simplifying numbers, let's say payroll last year was $10,000 every 2 weeks. And now it is $6,000 every 2 weeks. There's a $4,000 difference there. However, I don't have that work because my guys work when there's work to do. So if I want to give them full hours that they had last year, that means I'm having them do extra stuff that I wouldn't normally have them do. Maybe work around the warehouse or just do little things. But if I'm spending that additional $4,000 that isn't going directly to jobs just to get people hours, and then I have to pay taxes on the profit for that, it's actually a negative incentive for me to give hours to people. Plus, on top of that, I don't know what's going to be forgiven anyways. So there's that negative incentive again to not give as many hours, which is the #1 goal of the program, which is very unfortunate. I wish they would just define this, make it a law, how forgiveness is going to work, because now people are receiving all this funding and the time is ticking for the 8-week period to spend all this money in order to get it forgiven. So it's kind of frustrating and a little bit like, what's going to go on? And a bunch of people have asked me for like spreadsheets and guidance on how forgiveness is going to work in this, and I've been hesitating to make anything because I don't want to put out a spreadsheet that later has bad information or I guide someone in the wrong way. So once I have clear, concise information, I will 100% make a spreadsheet that allows people to track expenses and know where exactly they're at with forgiveness. But as of right now, all you can do is make sure that you're keeping account of where the funds are going, and that's really the safest thing that we can do as of right now. I'm just really excited that I finally received this loan, and I'm going to be able to do some good things with it and make sure that payroll is covered, and I'm just happy it's finally received. It's not quite over with, but finally received. So I just wanted to share my journey here. I hope this helps some of you out. Until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.